torpedo is coming at you. This torpedo uses a hydrostatic valve and a pendulum to control its depth. The hydrostatic valve senses the surrounding water pressure to determine whether the torpedo deviates from the set depth, pushing a lever to adjust the direction and allowing the torpedo to float or dive. The pendulum moves in a vertical plane to control the torpedo's pitch. When the torpedo is tilted, the pendulum deflects, adjusting the rudder via connecting rods to bring the torpedo back to level. In addition, the torpedo is controlled for left-right deflection by a gyroscope, which pushes the surfaces to correct the torpedo's direction. Torpedoes are coming straight at you. You immediately turn sharply, but it is too late. The torpedo hits your ship, blowing a big hole in it, and you hurry up to escape in a boat. Then you sail your new warship. This new warship has torpedo bulges on both sides, dividing the internal space for isolation. It is filled with air, while the inner part can enter the water freely. At this moment, 2 torpedoes are headed in your direction. You immediately maneuver to avoid them. You evade the first torpedo, but unfortunately, you are hit by the second. When the torpedo hits the bulge, the inflatable part on the outside of the drum breaks and floods, while the flushing part inside dissipates the shockwave and absorbs explosive debris so that the main structure of the body remains intact. The warship is fine, so you keep sailing, and there are a couple more torpedoes coming at you. This torpedo uses magnetic stealth hidden through the flow of water. It pushes an impeller to rotate and drive generator power. Power passes through the voltage regulator and is stably transmitted to the internal circuit of the actuator. The circuit consists of a thyrotron, regulators, and solenoids. The thyrotron is an electronic switch that controls the startup timing of the solenoid. When the torpedo flies towards the target and the internal sensing coil starts to work, it contains a 20-pound sensor container and a 30-inch tall alloy bar. This magnet bar enhances the signal. As soon as you spot the torpedo, you evade it immediately. You evade multiple torpedoes, but there are too many and you cannot withstand them. A torpedo approaches your ship. When the torpedo reaches directly below the warship, the magnetic field changes dramatically, causing voltage fluctuations. This energy triggers the thyrotron to turn on, powering the solenoids and driving a series of mechanical actions to detonate the main explosive. Giant bubbles are created instantaneously, arching the middle of the hull, and then the bubble collapses, causing a violent reverse shock that cuts the warship in half. You escape in a boat before the ship sinks. Then you sail your new warship. At this moment, 2 torpedoes are coming towards you. This torpedo is powered by a battery that drives the motor forward, creating less noise and wake, so you didn't see any distant torpedoes at all until the torpedo reaches a very close range. You just found this torpedo. You immediately order the warship to move at full speed and hit the direction to avoid it. This torpedo has too little motor power, so it cannot catch up with your warship at all, and you manage to avoid it. To destroy this pesky submarine, you call a counterattack plane towards the enemy. The submarine's bearing drops, and a deep attack torpedo is launched. The guidance system of this torpedo uses 4 crystals located in the middle of the torpedo, connected to a vacuum tube-based sound processing array. Water signals are compared and processed to issue a turn command to the rudder. The torpedo turns toward the water signal with the strongest signal. When the amplitudes of the 2 signals are equal, the torpedo goes straight, heading directly for the enemy submarine. As a result, the enemy submarine releases a sonar decoy. This is a metal can about 3.9 inches in size, filled with calcium hydride. When this substance mixes with seawater, it releases a lot of gas, and the resulting bubble cloud resembles a submarine. At the same time, the submarine immediately shuts down the engine for a quiet dive. The acoustic torpedo is induced to miss the enemy submarine. After that, enemy submarines also fire an acoustic torpedo at you, but yours is equipped with a metal noise device hanging on the aft of the destroyer, disengaged by the ship. These metal chains collide with the jar in the water, generating a lot of high-frequency noise that is much louder than the ship's own propeller, attracting the enemy acoustic torpedo off course. The enemy torpedo misses your ship, and you keep sailing. It turns out a supercavitating, high-speed torpedo is coming at you at 200 knots. This torpedo was accelerated by a solid rocket motor to a certain speed. After that, it enters the flight stage of the supercavitating gun. The torpedo's specially shaped nose deflects the water outward, diverting some gases from emissions, and the expansion of gas from the nose forms bubbles around the torpedo. This minimizes contact between the water and the torpedo, significantly reducing drag. You find the incoming torpedo and immediately avoid it, but the torpedo is too fast and you cannot escape at all. The torpedo hits your ship. There is a huge explosion. Before the warship sinks, you run away in a boat. Then you sail a new warship. At this moment, another torpedo is coming towards you. This torpedo uses wire guidance plus active and composite passive sonar guidance. When using wire guidance, submarine operators can use this cable to command the torpedo, And at the same time, the torpedo can also transmit the sonar information back to the submarine for co-decision. Due to the limited cable length, when the torpedo is out of control, it starts with passive sonar monitoring the sound of warship propellers. After approaching the warship, the seeker inside the torpedo periodically sends high-frequency sound waves forward. The sound waves travel through water, encounter a ship, and generate a reflection. The torpedo's receiving system collects these reflections to determine its direction, distance, and speed changes, controlling the steering gear. It is a torpedo that keeps moving towards the target, but he doesn't know that when you have already fallen into your maneuver, you have already used a decoy in the back of the boat. This type of torpedo decoy emits helix angles and engine noise to jam the torpedo's passive sonar, and it can be enlarged to return a torpedo pulse signal to interfere with the active acoustic seeker of the torpedo. The torpedo goes straight for the decoy. You successfully dodge this torpedo. Ha 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 ha. Even when you laugh at each other, there is another torpedo coming. Both sides of the tail of this torpedo have sensor arrays at the top and bottom. Pressure differential, temperature difference, bubble density, and acoustic reflectivity can be monitored. After the sensor catches the wake, the torpedo enters serpentine search mode, performing a lateral sweep. Once it finds a wake, it follows it until the hit. When you find this torpedo, you activate the decoy, but it has no effect on the wake-homing torpedo, so you immediately fire an anti-torpedo torpedo at this torpedo. The torpedo enters the water, activates the sonar, emits sound waves, and receives torpedo echoes to track the target for the final hit, and then you sail the ship on.